Dumelang Sambonani, hello South Africa. A very warm welcome to Expressions. October is Mental Health Awareness Month, and we're going to be putting a very special spotlight on this very important issue. This is definitely the place for you to air your views. I'm your host, Jacqueline Mapala.
And I'm your host, Umxolisi Wagomasango. Now, njoba seshilo ke October Mental Health Awareness Month, and of course we did manage to touch base Nolusha in all corners of the country. Have a look at this insert.
You're watching Expressions, and we are on location in Phosphorus at a school called Masitwalisane Secondary School. And here we're going to be speaking to the class of 2020, at least the matrics of 2020, around how they are dealing mentally with the issue of lockdown and how it's affected their education. Now, we're going to be getting a lot of insights because a lot of young people are dealing with anxiety and depression. Let's go inside and speak to them. So, Mosho, when we want to talk about mental health as the class of 2020, we want to find out how are you coping currently right now. So maybe just as a start, because you guys are literally in the middle of history. There's no generation that has ever gone through what you are going through.
The class of 2020, I can assure you, people are quite anxious. People are asking them two questions specifically. I'm asking myself two questions specifically. The first question being, am I going to make it? Will I pass? The second question is in relation to COVID-19 in general. If I test positive for COVID-19 right now, what's going to happen? Will they isolate me and maybe organize an area where I'm going to be writing my exams? Or will I be stopped and okay, cool, Mtutuzi, you'll write next day. What's going to be happening?
We've been doing attending so much every day with so much work, with so much studying, writing exams after exams. We're not giving any break to study at all. So it's draining mentally and we are tired, really tired.
We are feeling anxious and there's too much worry. You don't even know what's going to come out on the papers. So it's just putting us in disarray.
It's really hard to study under all of these conditions because our concentrator and everything, it's at home, there are a lot of people at school, there's pressure, and then it's hard to see yourself within, am I make it, am I not make it? So you become to doubt yourself and say, I'm not gonna make it. And you give up. Most people rate of matrix actually, they give up because they lose hope.
What are your parents doing? Are they giving you the emotional support that you require?
I don't think we are getting enough emotional support because the minute you tell Mama endlini ukuthi Mama, I'm going through this, I need to study, I can't do some of the chores endlini, they feel as if you just want to be a spoiled brat. But instead, we can get support maybe at school because there are teachers that you can go to and just vent to. So yeah.
Telling me that mele ufunde uzoyivasithi, mele ufunde uzoyivasithi, mele ufunde uzoyivasithi every day, that doesn't become motivation to me. That necessarily is you telling me you have high expectations of me and you're not understanding the situations that we're facing currently as matric. So I feel like even parents, they need to engage us in that matter, be involved, know ukuthi ngifila kanjani currently and don't just put pressure on me.
If you were to imagine your future, if you were to imagine 2021 for yourself, what do you see?
Oh, hopefully I'll be in university first of all, but then I feel like if I could apply myself with a good mentality now, it could be okay, because as much as everything is bad, it's still good. So if I could just apply myself with enough effort and time to my studies, I'll have a prosperous future.
Private schools, independent schools, they had the privilege to engage with their teachers using Zoom calls and online learning. We didn't have that, but then we're writing the same paper. So we need to look at equality.
If you could give advice to the upcoming matrics of 2021, having experienced this historical moment that is COVID-19 and a pandemic, what advice would you give them?
One thing that I'd say to the class of 2021 is that firstly, they need to make sure that they are emotionally and mentally stable, make sure that they find help wherever they can, and also they must make sure that they study very hard and take each and every opportunity that comes to them very important and grasp it so that they can pass their matric very well.
Mental state has to do with your state of mind and how you apply yourself mentally to everything that's around you, your reactions, your emotions, and how you feel generally about what's happening in the world. But then because of what's happening now, it's quite hard to imagine a good future because opportunities and education journey is becoming hard. So having to have a positive mindset about the future is hard. You really can't help but think about the bad things and how the COVID is going to affect you, how you're going to live your life.
What are you finding on the ground in terms of the mindset and the mentality of the matrics?
They left just after writing their first term tests, so they had not settled into the pressure of being in matric. So you have to start and make sure that they sort of like jumpstart them again to say, hey guys, remember in matric. So it's been a lot of stress, but I think as adults, we have to take control and make sure that we guide these kids to say, guys, we need to focus. This is what must happen. So that's what we've been pushing. Extra classes, afternoons, Saturdays. Some even go to extra classes outside organized by parents.
What are you doing as teachers? What are you doing as a school to make sure that you maintain and support kids, especially when it comes to their mental health?
It would have been nice if most matrics were provided psychological services, intensively so, from the government to say, guys, you've gone through this and you're writing soon. Are you okay? Being in a township school anyway, there's no psychologist here. But if you were there at Kiro, it's on site. You understand? So it would be nice to have some sort of service like that in schools, and that would benefit the kids greatly. So COVID would have need something like that, and these kids will at least balance themselves out with talking to someone who's a professional.
For parents who are watching the show who don't really understand, how would you help them understand what the mindset and the mental status of their kids as they're doing 2020 during COVID?
We need to start accepting this concept of depression in our community. Our community fails to recognize that depression is real in our communities, and it's something that is crippling a whole lot of young people. But different, and as such, we need to look at them as individuals. They're different. So give them in a different time so that they can relax and be free to talk to you as a parent.
Sure, so clearly being a matric in the year 2020 as the world is facing a global crisis is not easy. You know, Gochaye, if you are going through this time where you're in matric, you are standing right in the middle of history. There's no generation that has ever gone through what you are going through right now, but I hope that Insert has encouraged you, motivated you to know that despite the challenges that you might be facing, you will definitely overcome. We'll be back right after this. You're watching Expressions.
So conversations around Mental Health Awareness Month continues on your #1 youth current affairs show, and we felt it befitting, Uti, we have to touch base with young people across all spheres of society. We went to a school and now we're at a tertiary institution. We're catching up with young people as well who speak to us about how they've been coping all along during this year. Okay, ladies, thank you so much for your time on Expressions today. How has it been for you guys as tertiary institution learners?
It's been very overwhelming preparing, especially right now that we have to do our final exams, and at home it was the lack of support was really saddening because you were there and no one was understanding. It felt like no one really understood the pressures that you're going through.
It's my final year and it's like, whoa, are we going to make it to the graduation? Because everything is happening all at once. The exams, the pressure of tests and our assignments, it was actually a lot.
How have you been taking care of your mental well-being right now?
Personally, I think I always try and speak myself into a positive mindset. I try and not think about the negative.
A positive mind does help, but also it's not easy to just get a positive mind. You need to expose yourself to positive things, either read, listen to podcasts, or even having conversations, not always focusing on negativity.
Sometimes as much as we talk ourselves out of doing something, start doing it so that you don't spend that much time talking to yourself, procrastinating, because the more you procrastinate, the more behind you get on your schoolwork, and the more anxious you get, the more scared you are.
The reality is that we young people will like to party, and I know there's some young people, ababukele expressions right now, who when, as the lockdown levels kept going down and down, they want some well groove. Sfunukyo groover, you know? I want to know, balance, how did you guys balance it? And going into the exams, are you guys ready?
Yeah, people say live a balanced life, and they say it like it's something very easy to do. However, it's actually not, because once you try to live a balanced life, some areas lag, and then you feel like, oh my gosh, it's falling out of, it's getting out of control. But as you do it, you trial and you see how you can live a balanced life. It gets easier.
Bafeti, you heard it from the ladies themselves. It's very important to live a very balanced life, and we understand that this time is a very stressful time for you. But of course, keep your focus and keep it going. See expressions? We out of here. We're done with this conversation.
You're watching Expressions, and we continue this also important and very vital conversation and discussion that we're having around mental health, especially among young people. We are at our next location, and we're going to be speaking to graduates who are dealing with the issue of unemployment. And we know there is so much anxiety, there's a lot of confusion and uncertainty when you're a graduate and you're unemployed. We're going to find out from them how they're feeling, but most importantly, how they would consider their own mental health status. As a graduate who is unemployed, what have you been going through?
The first few months after graduating, you still have a lot of hope, and you're still applying. You're out there certifying your documents, getting your CV done, revamped, and all of that. And it feels great at that time that, I've graduated and I've celebrated that. So now I'm doing the job hunting. You're even in the mood for that. And then it just goes to a year, and then you start reflecting on everything that you've done before. And you just wonder, what is it that you're doing? And then all of those questions that are going to come to your mind build up into frustrations. So you think, if I upgrade from my national diploma, maybe go to BTech or BEng, like, how is it going to affect that experience that I do not have? So now I'll just have this high qualification with no job.
It's been very depressing. You see yourself as a person who's not valuable in the community. More especially at home, because you don't have money, and it's even worse for the parents who spend their money in your fees, and then with the hope that you stand on your feet and provide for yourself. Honestly, I thought when I'm done studying, I'll just be getting companies calling me, or I'll just apply and I'll get a job easily because it's in accounting. I used to ask my mom every day, like, should I go back to school and study maybe teaching or something that I know that I would get a job easier, even though my passion is in accounting.
The challenge that I had, it was after I completed my theoretical part, where I was supposed to find a 6-month internship so that I can graduate and get my qualification. I struggled to get opportunities for job interviews. Then I ended up going to be a taxi driver. That's the sad part. I used to undermine the taxi drivers, but I realized that we don't know their qualifications and we don't know their situation, why they ended up being drivers.
Do you think that there is a mental health problem among unemployed graduates in South Africa?
I think we all have this mentality of, you go to high school, you go to varsity, you graduate, you get a job. So when things don't happen in that way, it confuses you and the people around you, especially your parents or your guardians or whoever paid for your studies, because they expect you to get a job. When you sitting at home, maybe feeling doubtful, depressed and all of that, they don't know what to do either, because it's like, we gave you what you need, go get a job.
There should be a way where people are taught about potential challenges that you may face after graduating. So I think mental evaluation for each and every field should be taken seriously. It should actually be a top priority in almost all the companies.
What I can say to all the graduates out there who are not employed, don't give up. It's not the end of the world. Keep up sending those CVs. Keep up applying. And also do research about the recruitment agency like South African Council for Graduates. There are a lot out there. They will call you. They will give you the opportunity to your best to utilize your skills and achieve your goals.
Clearly, COVID-19 as well as the lockdown has affected a lot of young people, as we saw in those two inserts, that there are lots of graduates out there who are dealing with the issue of unemployment. And of course, there are still students who are going to school, and it's completely disrupted learning and progress and success in their lives. But as we know, this also has caused a lot of psychological distress, anxiety and depression. But as Expressions, we're hoping that you can go out there, find some help. You are not alone. You're watching Expressions. We continue right after this.
You still with Expressions, your #1 youth current affairs show. Well, we do know, Guti, as a show, October is a very stressful month for ulusha. Most of you that are getting into your exams. And we also know Guti Lonyaga has been a very difficult and different year compared to the other years. That's why Expressions are making sure that you are fully equipped with all the tools that you need. But again, after all the conversations that we've had, what do the experts have to say? Have a look at this insert.
So we just want to find out, how are you dealing with mental health within your schools, especially in relation to the class of 2020?
I feel that the teachers within the school premises have gelled so well with the learners. Remember that these learners have been in the school for the past 5 years. So now they understand their educators, and they got good relationship with their teachers. So as a result, it's easier for when a child is experiencing situations that they are able to go to their educator and request assistance.
Do you feel that there is enough awareness and education around the importance of maintaining mental health among them, especially going through this very challenging and difficult time?
Within the schooling system and within Black community, there is lack of information when it comes to, or poor information when it comes to mental health, because what you'll find that most of the learners end up committing suicide, most of the learners are depressed. It is because they don't understand the importance of having to express themselves, tell exactly how they are feeling. And I also noticed that in the paper that they were writing now, the prelim examination for English educational file, there were a lot of issues that spoke to mental health. So as a result, I think that the school system, as well as the other stakeholders involved, should take part in informing these learners from their early age, so that as a result they can then teach them to their next generation.
What is the state of preparedness for schools to just make sure that kids do not give into suicide?
Each and every school, a proper school, should have security, should have a psychologist or a social worker, doctor or nurse within the school premises. So, but within these public schools, we don't have that. And I think that it's about time that probably the government should look into that, into ensuring that the child is taught within these communities gets a holistic service from the education system.
Now, we're on location in Midrand. We're going to be speaking to a counseling psychologist by the name of Riabetsu Bias. Let's go inside and have a chat with her. A very warm welcome to Expressions. So we just want to understand a little bit more about mental health issues, especially among young people. And I think just as a start, we want to find out, how do you prevent mental health problems?
So I think more than anything, it really is up to us to understand, when we are functioning at our best. And usually when we are not functioning at our best, we'll notice things like changes in our behavior or changes in our emotions. So being able to understand that, when is it that I know that I'm just not okay? Am I avoiding people? Am I not sleeping? Am I not eating properly? Am I not performing at school? or, in other areas of my life. So it's really important for us to be able to pick up when things just don't feel right. So it's really important to know that, but then also in order to prevent it, it's important to understand what the triggers are. So am I feeling particularly down right now because there's something specific that happened? Is it because I've been waiting for something to happen and it's not coming about? So really important for us to be able to identify all of these things around us that indicate that there's something going on.
What steps can they take if they feel that there's something not right and they might have some kind of a mental health problem or issue?
I think, a lot of it comes with just being honest with yourself and asking yourself, has anything happened over the past couple of weeks or the past few months even that has either upset me or just, destabilized me or upset me a little bit, and that being said, can I do something about it, or do I actually need to ask someone to help me figure it out? Because like I said, sometimes you don't know what it is, and that's perfectly fine. But it's about reaching out and finding somebody that can. So maybe speaking to a doctor. I know that there are a lot of helplines now that are available, and they will phone you back, like the South African Depression and Anxiety Group. They actually have an SMS line. So you don't necessarily have to have a lot of airtime to phone and get advice, but they can actually phone you back and help you to talk through and figure out exactly what it is. Sometimes it's something that you can resolve really quickly and you just need to speak to someone that can say, do 1, 2, 3. Other times you may need further assistance, which is perfectly fine as well. But really just reaching out, I think, is the first step. And then also, if you notice that there are things in your day-to-day life that have changed, try and go back into a routine. Try and do things that actually work for you. So if you know that going for a walk or getting a little bit of exercise helps you to feel better, then do those things. If you know that you've changed the way that you're eating and sleeping, try and get those things back to normal as much as possible. And just talk to people. Sometimes we keep a lot of things inside. It's important to actually just talk to someone, even if they won't solve your problems. But just having, an ear there to listen to what you're going through can really help you to think more clearly about, okay, actually, this is how I feel. So maybe I should do certain things to help myself to get through this. So realizing that you're not alone, but really reaching out to people and to resources that can help you.
So we've come to the end of the show, and we hope that today's episode has shown you and highlighted the importance of being able to understand and know about your own mental health as a young person. Whether you're in matric, whether you are still in varsity, or whether you are an unemployed graduate, we understand the fact that because we're living in unprecedented times where we're facing a global pandemic that is COVID-19 and a lockdown, you are going to experience a lot of psychological distress, anxiety, and depression. But we're hoping that you're not going to die in silence. You're going to reach out, speak to someone, make sure that you get the help and the support that you require, right, Ngo?
Absolutely right, Jackie. And of course, the point that we're trying to drive, Futhi, is that you are not alone. Mbukeli lapha ekhaya, ikakhulukazi ngalesikhathi esinzima. A very big thank you to everyone who came onto the show today to speak to us, the experts, as well as the educators. It's great to see that there are still educators who are so dedicated to the cause, especially seeing that we've also just recently celebrated World Teachers Day. We have to thank you so much, now lapho Mbukeli, for your participation in ey'nkundleni zethu zokuxhumana. From all of us here at Expressions, till next time, nsale kahle.
Adios, muchachos. Thanks for watching. Bye.